welcome to BU Podcast. We are here with none other than Brand Charles, the guru of the industry. He is a influencer, he is a educator, he is a master stylist, he is an artist, he is a man of many hats. So let me just go straight in, Charles. Let me just go straight in. Ain't no hesitation. What made you want to get into doing women hair?
Oh, I think that honestly I won't even lie. My Myers Briggs in the ninth grade said that I would eighth grade personality test. It said I would be a beautician. And to be honest with you, I rebuked the thought of being a beautician. Because I must say I was ignorant to the fact that straight men did hair. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So to be, where I'm from, that wasn't a common thing. So um I didn't want to be stereotyped or I was not comfortable enough with myself to not want to be stereotyped when I was younger.
Right.
So, I was like, well, nah, so I stayed on the barbering side for a long time. I started 10 years ago, 39 years old. I started really getting into doing women hair. So, everything that's happened within the last 10 years with me in the women's side of the industry it's been crazy. It's been a real journey, ups and downs, but I love every minute of it.
Wow.
But yeah, so Mike Briggs said I would be a hairstylist. I never believed it. Um, I got into hair once I realized that I was cutting a lot of men hair. I don't know, I was doing maybe 40, 50 men a day sometimes as far as men cuts. And I was like, wow, I'd be dog tired when I got off. So my girl and I at the time, we couldn't go hang out. I was too tired. Yeah, I made a lot of money, but guess what? I'm so tired. I'm ready to just rest. So
Right.
I started seeing where that affected my relationship because I was working so much. Um, Made the money, but I was working myself. But then I was like, if I can make this amount of money as a barber, what if I learn how to do women hair? Better
Right.
yet, what if I learn how to do all women hair? So that became a passion. Um, I met a guy named Pat Bradley. Pat, was
I know Pat Bradley.
Pat was doing the cuts. Pat was killing it. He's still killing it. And seeing him kind of it inspired me. So I jumped into it. Um, After being a top barber in my area, I left the barber game. I moved to Atlanta, try to work some things out there. Things didn't fall like I wanted. I came
Right.
back and I got into this high end salon in Orlando. It was a Tony Guy's based salon that taught Tony Guy cutting techniques, and that was it. And that was the start of something you know that's I'm pretty excited about. So yeah.
Okay. So, where do you see yourself in the near future dealing with the beauty industry?
Well, I just really see myself more so as a global icon, educator. I just want to grow, learn, and share. Right. I want to be able to explore artistically the world of haircutting. Fashion, art, all of that is kind of like it goes together for me. You know what I'm saying? Kind of it speaks to me as one. Um,
Right.
so the possibilities are definitely endless when it comes to the hair industry, but or my brand as a whole, brand Charles as a whole is pretty much it's a whole art. Um, it's really just a whole art space. It's a whole art movement. It's a whole art. Um, just with different genres and different areas. So it's really just gonna be a movement. It's the whole
Right.
artistic movement. That whatever your thing is, whether it's painting, whether it's music, whether it's drawing, whether it's hair, whether it's photography, all that is kind of like to me, whether it's fashion, all that goes together as art. And that's what I'm drawn to.
Right. Let me ask you a question. So, okay, so we know where you started from. We know where you at right now, and that's one of the things that When God gave me this series, it was a series on faith beyond the chair. And a lot of people assumed that I was talking about the beauty industry, and I was, but I wasn't. It's the chair of what held you back from a lot of things that you wanted to do. What was that thing? Like me, it was the fear of. It was more so fear. It was the fear of where I came from and could I really do it? And I had to get out of the chair of comfort and really walk by faith and believed in myself, not so much what my circumstance and my situation was, to really push forward. So what chair did you have to step out of so that you could really focus on what it is that you wanted in life?
Honestly, I really had to step outside of myself. Um, you know, on the real, like, we make progress through making decisions in life, going through experiences in life, and learning from those experiences, right? So I really had to get out of my way of, I had grown accustomed to being the guy. Um,
Right,
I had grown accustomed to being like the top-notch dude in the area. Got the latest whip, got the hottest fashion. You know, um, but I realized that there was a higher calling, but it was going to take a sacrifice. So that was the scariest thing because now it feels like you fell off or um, you ain't on your. It's like winning a championship the first year and then not making it to the first round the very next year, right?
right,
So it's
right,
it's like you going from being the cream of the crop to the bottom of the barrel. So that transition was painful. That transition was scary. That transition was um it was testing. It was a lot of testing, and it's still a lot of testing. Um,
right,
for me, I just have to say, you know what? If I want to be this global icon, when I'm talking about the hair industry, if I want to be this global icon, um, I can't just be behind the chair as a barber and have my little area on lock and feel like, hey, I'm the man, I'm doing something because
right,
that was, a local thing, and not to say anything wrong with that, but um, I feel like God has given me a gift that I should number one share my gift with the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, so getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know, um,
right,
I had to get comfortable with not being the flyest guy in the room anymore. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
right,
for real, like I had to get comfortable with that. Like, okay, even though I know I'm the flyest guy in the room, but at the same time, I'm just gonna chill and be, because I know I'm working on something. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm working on something that's bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I'm working on something that's so big that I might just be the spark of it, honestly, for real. And I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So if I'm the spark that ignite, a whole forest fire, figuratively speaking, forest fire. But forest fire, like that means everybody catching that movement, everybody, getting inspired, everybody like whatever it is they doing, they just going for it. Like
right,
forget the boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Like um it's almost like if Harriet Tubman said, you know what, I can't free no more slaves, or I'm free and
right,
I ain't going back to get no more slaves, right? And I
right,
hate to bring it up, but the honesty behind it is that this person knew her purpose was to set people free, to get people
right,
to freedom, right? And it's the same token with us, right? We're like beacons in a way because the chains aren't on us physically anymore. The chains are on us mentally. Um, And I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't really pay attention to because um, your mind is so powerful. And if
right,
your mind is in chains, if your mind is full of doubt, if your mind is full of fences or roadblocks or whatever the obstacles are, and you're not strong enough, or your mind isn't strong enough to say, "Oh, I can get either around it, over it, or
right,
even go through this," right?
You just cut off your mic.
So that's what I really had to understand. That's what I really had to get out of myself and say, okay, Chuck, you're not gonna be the flyest guy in the room. In fact, your name gonna go from Chucky Lane to being Brand Charles. You know what I'm saying? So going from
Wow,
Chucky
yeah.
Lane, back home, Chucky Lane, that guy's the guy. Brand Charles is like, wait, most people back home like, well, who is Brand Charles? So Brand Charles is that side of me that said, you know what, let me elevate myself. You know what I'm saying? Let me go to another level. Let me ascend, not descend, but ascend. It means go higher, right?
Right.
So that's what I challenged myself to do with my craft. And then now it bleeds over to other areas of my life too, right? So now I start looking at myself in other areas, like even being a father, even being, there's things that like, okay, I need to elevate, I need to ascend into, proper ways of handling my kids or dealing with just whatever situations might be. But yeah, so it's challenging yourself. It's getting outside of who you think you are. And it's a whole rebirth, really.
It's funny you say that because I just had a talk with my branding coach, and he asked me about, you know, the story about Damascus, and I was like, yeah, the road to Damascus, and it was like when Saul was renamed to Paul, and it was like in this journey that we have in life, um, we have a mission of what we think the mission should be. But then God will turn around and he do a whole transformation in your life because it's like whatever we do, what is the purpose behind it? What is the purpose behind it? And I just was sharing some transparent moments with him that I had a selfishness about me. It was like, hey, I'm that. You put me up front.
Pride,
And
yeah.
a lot of times, God, our dad, to tell us, sit down. You get beside yourself. I need you to sit down because I need to recondition you because you want to elevate and you want to go to the next level, but mentally you ain't equipped. Because if I give you all of your blessings right now, you gonna run them up. You gonna be crazy out here. You gonna think that you God. You gonna be unteachable. You're gonna feel like you're untouchable, and you ain't looking to help nobody. You're not gonna mentor nobody. Not gonna help nobody. You ain't gonna bless nobody. It's gonna be just you. You're gonna be your own pagan God, and you're gonna wind up hurting yourself. So I have to allow you where you say society says you have decreased, but God said, no, I actually leveled you up. In that next level in life, it's certain stages. But we feel like we've been sat down back at the bottom, and God said, no, it ain't so. You ain't been. It's just I'm taking you to another level that you're not familiar with.
Yeah. Well, and it's like you said, number one, you can never get too haughty or high on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe in God, I believe in Jehovah. And from how I've been taught or how I've learned it was, you should be modest, you should be humble. You know what I'm saying? You should be, thankful, grateful, of life itself. You know what I'm saying? Everything else come and
Right.
go. So, a lot of times we can get puffed with pride because it can come from a place of maybe we might have felt left out as,
Right.
certain childhood traumas, whatever. So it can come from a place where we feel that we need that self-glorification. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, self-glorification can be dangerous because, Lucifer did the same thing, right? He wanted the
Right.
self-glorification. There we go. So, just realizing that and staying and just knowing that you're blessed. Number one, that you can have your faculties, you can see, you can walk, you have a gift
Right.
that you're able to use to take care of your family, right? That's key. But also, like, just also be reminded that this all can come to an end like snap of a finger for any of us. Um, so what happens when you're dead and gone? What happens? How did you make people feel? How did you impact people's
Your
lives?
legacy.
How did you your legacy? How did you influence people? What was your, what was your purpose? You know what I'm saying? And once you realize it, I think, you become grateful because you
Right.
realize that, wow, God just gave me something that, whoa. And I see it all the time. It's like, man, I'm so lucky that even though I started on a dirt road into memories, like deep down south, the dirty south, deep down south. I'm talking about. I remember being 90 degrees, guys sweating while I'm cutting their hair. I never knew that from that it would take me to pretty much around the country, in all different stages, from Fashion Week, New York, to working in Manhattan, to, Toronto. It's a blessing.
Right.
And it's also it's not easy. But
it's worth
too much
it.
is given, it's worth it. And too much is given, much is required. You know what I'm saying? So, and as I grow, as things become, because I have visions of things, and I know that, manifestation, and I believe in the word of it, but what it really means is faith without works is dead, right? So
Right.
you have faith and you don't put in the work, it is
It's
dead.
nothing.
So there's nothing that's going to be manifested. Yes.
Right.
Because even God had to work. Even Jehovah had to put in work the rest of the day. Right. So
but
manifesting that.
Yeah, we gotta basically we want God to lay it in our lap. And this is one thing I'm big on. I believe in prayer. That's my connection. That's our connection. It's our love language with God, is our prayer life. And in that prayer life, God is saying, if you believe that I'm going to do what I told you I was going to do, you will prepare for it. Preparing for it means you need to get up out of that chair of laziness and you need to move towards it. So we could say that we want to be millionaires, and we could say that we want to have our own businesses, and we could say we want this, and we could say we want that. But what are you doing to work towards that? But don't get it twisted either, because even with the works we do, some people think they do so much work it's gonna put them in heaven, baby. No, don't get it twisted. No, that ain't gonna work on that behalf. But it's some of the things that you were talking about that you've done, you've traveled, and let me show people what I see. Let me show people. Can I show people a glimpse? Because a lot of people know you, but a lot of people don't know, because a lot of people inbox, who is that on your flyer? So let me show you what I see, and the ones that know you see. This is just a glimpse of a video that I put together.
Yeah, baby, yeah. Thank God.
So that is what God is producing. People don't even understand it. God's children are the flavor. We are the season of the earth, and a lot of times we begin to follow the trend. We begin to follow the trend, but we supposed to be the trendsetters.
For sure.
Right. So when I see the cutting and the techniques, and you've taken basic and you gave it fire, because it's a lot of people don't get into their work like that. And I see you bending and cutting, but we wasn't taught like that in school. No, you stand up, you stand at a certain angle, and it's like you don't put that edge and that flare. You made it your own. You made it your own. And that also goes into stepping beyond the chair of faith. Like, you had to have faith to say, you know what? I'm going to go against the grain. I know they say this is not the proper way, but I'm gonna go against the grain.
Oh boy.
Can we talk about that?
Man, I think everything about me is against the grain. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Like, I'm a black guy, straight black guy, and you know, in an industry that is, stereotypically I'm not fitting, right?
Right.
So I'm here and I'm fitting. Matter of fact, I'm carving a new idea or a new mindset on this whole thing about, even hairstylists, you know what I'm saying? Or even artists, you know what I'm saying? Or, for us to be able to break the barriers, number one, in our mindset, you know what I'm saying? Not anybody else's. We got to think, we got to see ourselves in a different light. So when dudes see me in a different light, they were like, dude, you quit the game, man. I'm just like, yeah, it's scary. But there was other guys before me, you know what I'm saying? And all I'm doing is let's just face it, there's nothing new under the sun. We know that, right? It goes around, comes around. We just put our spin on it, right? So as I get my time, someone has their time. As my time goes around, comes around, has its seasons, and it's time to pass it to whoever next, right?
Right.
So, but while it's my time, I'm gonna season this thing how I want to, right? So,
right.
I'm gonna put whatever spice I want to put on it, and I'm not gonna look at somebody else for how they do it. If I like what you do, great. You know what? I'm gonna learn from you because I can learn from everybody, right? I'm a sponge in this industry, straight up. And I want to be a sponge in life, period, just to kind of like really absorb things, right, and understand them, so I can maneuver myself and position myself, and that's going to be beneficial for me and my family. So, yeah. So, I'm going against the grain. I'm going to, let other guys that look like me, that come from where I come from, that, hey, man, number one,
to do it.
It's out here. It's out here. Just know that, and don't be, don't get caught up in the stereotypes. Don't get caught up in what people say you can and can't do, because my mom, this October will be 3 years that she's been gone. Wow. And my mother never graduated high school. She wanted me to graduate high school. I graduated high school. I graduated college. You know what I'm saying? For my mom, that was like unfathomable, because for her, she went to school during integration when the schools integrated, and it was a lot of stuff that she experienced that made her not even want to continue. So she dropped out in the 8th grade. But she always taught me to go for my dreams, to never let anyone tell me what I can and can't do. Family members, it don't matter, because there was a time she didn't believe in me. You know what I'm saying? I had been acting. I was in college for theater, and I had been acting for years, maybe like 10 years, all through high school, all through college, after college, just really trying to get. And I finally got a 30-second spot. It paid me like $500. I don't know, $600. But anyway, the spot aired during the football game. And my mother saw it. Oh, so she saw me on TV. The lady almost blew it. Oh my gosh, she thought I was famous, but it was just, a little spot. But that was just proof that no matter how long it took, I was willing to work at it. I was willing to sacrifice, same comes to now. I've been sacrificing for the past 10 years because it's been a learning curve, going from barbering almost, 28, 29 years, and then getting into women's hair. And now
it's truly the story, faith beyond repair, and it works. It works your patience. I tell people that all the time. You can't have microwavable instant gratification mentality.
Not if it's going to last.
It's not going to happen like that. And even though it's been 20 some odd years on this side and 10 something years on this side, God said you haven't even been in it a day. We complaining and we like, man, I've been doing this thing. God said, wait, 1,000 years is like a day to me. You ain't even been this a day and you complaining?
Yeah.
How long I've been dealing with your mess?
Yeah. And I think And I think that just put things in perspective for us, as far as like, even our lifespan. Our lifespan isn't as not even a day. So,
Right,
we look at it in perspective. We're only going to be here for a short time in the grand scheme of things, right? Um,
right.
but while we're here, what are we doing? And I challenge myself in a lot of ways too, because I feel like, okay, there's a lot of things that I have not tapped into that I might be, oh man, this, that, and other. Well, I do focus on things, but then there's other things that I may not focus on, and I might be like, well, okay, I might need to focus on this, and this, you know. But at the same time, it's like I gotta know that I have a foundation, so now I can start to open up other things, right? Um,
Right.
but I had to really hone in and focus on one particular thing and make it so it was sustainable for me financially, and then I can start, doing other things I want to do. So, hey,
Let
it
me
all
ask you
comes
this.
together.
So you saying, so you open this door. So what are some of the things you want to do? What are some of the things that outside of what you're doing now that you want to move towards, you want to gravitate to?
Well, I definitely want to get more into my painting. As you can see, I got, my picture behind me. Um, that picture really it symbolizes for me a lot of things. I want to kind of like let you see it, but it's kind of like I do a lot of self-reflection, and I like to really dig deep and kind of see, okay, where are my strengths, and I want to be thankful for my strengths, and I also want to highlight them as much as possible, because
Right,
then that gets me on a mental vibration of like, whoa, I am this person, therefore I
right,
can move towards that, right? um
right.
I do also look at, things where I need my opportunities, where things that I might need to work on too. um but I definitely try to focus on my strengths. So so definitely, as an artist, I do have a T-shirt line that I kind of did, a little bit back. I play with a little bit. So I got some ideas for that. I got some, man, I got ideas for film production. I got ideas for, uh, I got ideas for uh, a whole art gallery. Yeah, I got a lot of ideas, but they're all artistic. Whether it's fashion, art, um, some with photography, cinematography. All these things are like, I come from a theater background, artist background, so
Right.
all of that kind of works together with me. And hair is kind of just like another aesthetic or another part of it all, right? So who knows? I may even have a production company one day. There's things that I think of like, whoa, it comes to my mind because I have dabbled in it throughout my career of high school and college. So yeah,
And if God gave you the vision, He gonna make the provision,
yeah,
And my
but
thing is, I got the right person that you need to really connect to, because I had to learn this too. I'm one of those type of people. I'm very crafty in a lot of stuff. Um, my visions and dreams are so big. Sometimes I feel like my head gonna bust open, and people be like, "She do too much." Maybe you don't do enough. Don't tell me I do too much. But I had to realize that, Misha, you can't do this by yourself. You gotta trust people because I got trust issues. And I had to
I
really
think we
key
all might have
into,
that.
yeah, but I had to really key into those parts of my life in order to get me out of the box of comfort, fear, um, to the point of I can reach where I need to be. And God said, there are some people that I place in this world that got a big heart like you got, that are givers like you are a giver. You just
Mhm.
gotta open up the door. I can't force you to trust people, but I'm just gonna put them into place and see if you grab hold to the opportunity. And so even with my branding coach, me and him talk often, and we bumped heads in the beginning because I was like, "You don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do." Yeah, I just was like that mentality because that's how I was
Well,
built. Walking through this journey of life, I realized that there are so many opportunities that God has for us, and He didn't give you that vision, that dream, of having your own production company. If Tyler Perry can do it, guess what? Brand Charles can too. Chucky can too. You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah, sure.
so yeah, seriously. So it's like now God says He wants you to go ahead and start getting yourself prepared for it because He's gonna open up the door. He wants you to already be educated in it. So when He opened up the door, you walking in like, oh, I got this. Okay, I got this.
Right,
And
right,
now
right,
it's
right.
time for us, as Christians, as men and women of God, to kind of network and start getting together and start enhancing each other's lives. Because this world, we can't be on this planet by ourselves and thinking we can do everything because you're gonna
Right.
tire yourself out. But I truly believe in you. I've watched you for what, the last 3 years or so. We've come in contact with each other the last 3 years, and it's just where our paths just recrossed again. And like I said, I see the gift, I see the anointing, I see the calling on your life. I truly believe that God has something greater and better for you. He just waiting for you to come to the party.
All right. I thought I
that
was at the party. Maybe it's a bigger party. Okay. I might need to go do a wardrobe change.
So I mean, I'm super excited. You answered to. I was going to ask you the question, who is your why, and you gave a little bit background as far as with your mom. Who is your who? Who is your who? Who is that person that pushes you, that motivates you, that gives you that to say, you know what, you can go, you can make it.
I think it's still tied into my mother, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, even though
Right,
she's not here. And I feel like I'm still a legacy of her, right? So
right,
when people here see me and then they give me, whatever accolades, that those accolades are for my mother. You know what I'm saying? They're not for me because she sacrificed for me to be who I am. You know what I'm saying? She sacrificed to, really set in my mind that I can accomplish whatever I want. You know what I'm saying? As far as a kid, so that's like major. I think a lot of times some of us don't grow up with that support or that person who tells us, that we can do anything if
right.
we can there and do it. Um, so she was always that. So even though she's not here, I know that her name still lives on with people because I know I'm a reflection of her and her hard work. So that makes me feel good to know that people will say, "Man, your mama will be proud of you." My
Right,
mama was proud of me, but when they say it, because they know that
right,
she struggled, man. She really struggled. Especially being a single black, quote unquote uneducated, which my mom was brilliant, but she just didn't have the paperwork to show it. But
right.
um, that's definitely something that I could be, no matter how far I go with life in this industry, is always a reflection of like, wow, my mom really, point because I could have, I hung with all the dope boys, I hung with all the thugs,
Right.
you know, uh, it was right there within reach for me to get into. My mother just was real stern, real strict, um, and just didn't allow me to get into certain things, even though she didn't know everything I got into, but but for the most part, I was lucky. I didn't go to jail. I didn't get killed. I done been shot at. I done had someone pull a pistol on me in a club. I done came close to death a couple times.
But
Um,
God.
but God, good.
Yeah.
I definitely was lucky, and I'm definitely blessed to still be here. Therefore, until I'm out of here, I'm gonna blaze a trail, and whoever want to follow it, great. Whoever don't, that's cool too. But you see the lights,
Right.
you're gonna see the flames because it's going up. That's just, and it's like that because I'm willing to put in the work. You know,
Right.
I'm you know, I come from the orange grove or the watermelon fields when I was a kid. You know, so um, work. I'm not afraid of that.
I truly believe that's what makes us who we are. Again, I was born in Florida. A lot of people don't know that. I was born here, but I was raised in New York. When we left here, I was real little. And
Mhm.
so my past is 585 Rochester, New York. And I love it. And I always talk about 66 Stout Street because that's where I started doing hair. But I wouldn't change nothing. I used to ask people, what would you change about your past? If I changed my past, it changed who I am today.
Today, for sure,
And it
for sure.
really do it makes me, it makes you who you are. One, we appreciate everything because we wasn't raised with a silver spoon.
Right.
We wasn't. So when we do get those blessings where we're living better than we probably ever lived, we've able to experience things we never thought we could experience, traveled and gone places we never thought that we would go, meet people we never thought that we would meet. But that alone, it's like, God, I'm so glad that I stepped out of the chair of fear and really started walking into what you have me to walk in and who I am supposed to be. Not just with the way society say we should be, but who you say we should be. Because society would say Chucky, Brand Charles, Charles Lane, nah, he ain't gonna be no
Wait a minute, you
style.
just gave everybody the rundown. Yeah, hold on.
Say who is this person? We talking about the past, the present, and the future. And that's
Yeah,
where
for
you are.
sure.
That's your
Yeah,
making. That's who you
yeah,
are. Like you said, Chucky is that childhood neighborhood child, cutting the hair, running around, doing what he want to do. Then you
yeah,
got Charles. Then you got Brand Charles. So those are stages of your life to make you who you are on today.
yeah,
That's your
yeah, for
making.
sure, for sure,
So it's like you can't have one without the other.
for sure, for sure. You know, I like you said. You know, you look at things that you might change, and I wouldn't. You know, it's like you know, because that those experiences, like you say, that really forges you to who you are.
Right,
That really makes you who you are. And the good and the bad. And sometimes and that's I posted something the other day and it said I always win. And I don't want. I think that you know when I say that I don't know if people misinterpret it, but even if they didn't, whatever. But what I was saying was I always win because I always learn, right? So
right,
learning is a win, right? So if I go through something and the outcome don't come out as favorable for me as I would like, even though it may even cost me some discomfort or even some pain in some instances, but
right,
um, it's a win because I learned from that, right? So that's how I try to look at life as half full. So for me to go into certain salons, I don't look at them because wow, I might not be the complexion that these people are accustomed to seeing, but guess what? That's my advantage. It's not my disadvantage. You know
right,
what I'm saying? So when I walk up to in any salon in any part of the world, you know what I'm saying? I'm here because, I'm destined to be here. My purpose is to be here. And however long I'm here, I'm here to, perform at the at top level. And there's no jabbing nobody, but it's just me being confident of who I am and what God has made me to be. Right.
right,
So I don't, it don't come across as arrogance, or maybe it do to some people, but it's not. It's just confidence in me coming in with the open mind to learn, um, and the open mind to grow.
right,
So, um, I'm looking for opportunities, right? So for me, it's about opportunities. Who knows? I might give you an opportunity to learn something. Yes, and you may
right,
give me the opportunity to learn something. So now it's the exchange of information, and it's a win for everybody.
right,
So let's, you know, so yeah, that's an advantage. Um, so I think that especially with a lot of us, we can't look at our um complexion or whatever it is as a disadvantage. We gotta look at it as like, wow, you know what I'm saying? They need some flavor. That's how. Hey, you know
Right,
what? They need some
right.
flavor. Hey, let's you know, it's okay. You know, we all, you know, that's what makes
The world go round.
the world go round. That what make the world so the most wonderful place that it is, right? Because it's all these different people, all these different cultures, and we got to get outside of being just, you know, targeting or just servicing just who are people or are people who look like us. Let's learn to service everybody, because you know, if you think about it, a lot of the major brands are being more inclusive now. So inclusive just means that, okay, yeah, somebody that looks like you can come in my salon and get their hair done too, right?
Right.
Because guess what? At the end of the day, the money is green,
But you
right?
know, I
So
didn't realize that until I moved here. I didn't like when I lived in New York, we did everybody. Hair is here.
right, hair is hair.
Then when I moved here to Florida, it was a lot of segregation
Yeah,
in the
but
salons. I
yeah,
noticed that and I was like shocked. Like, so, you know, I'm
but
like,
it's still like that. I mean, I worked in Manhattan, and I definitely can see where there's two sides of the industry. I can see that. You know, I can see that in the industry there is a separation because of maybe texture, you know, or and maybe even color. Who knows? But they're working now to get it more integrated, because let's think about it. The major companies, L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, all those, you know, the major companies, you know, we know who they pretty much target their product lines to, right? And if you
right,
look at the number of product lines that they got geared towards a certain ethnic group, then you'll see, wow, it's a wide range over here. And oh, we just got this little bit that we just got because now it's a movement. So now
right,
let's be inclusive now. So you know, yeah, it's that's the industry, but and that's where artists like me come in. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, because we gotta be able to push the envelope um to make it inclusive. You know,
right,
it's gotta be, and that's the beautiful thing about our industry, that if you can do hair, you can do hair.
right,
If you can cut, you can cut. It don't
right,
matter what color you are, what matter what race you are. If you can cut, your work is gonna speak for itself, right?
right,
So that's what I
right,
love about it. Now, of course, I get judged all the time. You know, I like it because now it gives me the opportunity to show you. Yes, yes. Now I can show you, like, oh
like you
wow,
said I
okay, you
can't.
really,
Okay.
you just, I get that. I'm maybe like, you know, I had a guy tell me, man, you just come across so humble and just like, but you really, yeah, you that dude, huh? I said, you know, you said it.
Okay.
You know, and that's just how I like to move. That's what I rather do. You know, I don't. I'm leery of people who are um throwing around their title. You know what I'm saying? Because when people do that, I almost feel like it's a smoke screen. I gotta show you that I'm this, I'm that. But in the back, they slipping something behind your back or something. It's like, wait a minute, why are you trying to boost yourself to me? Um, when your work speaks for itself, you know, your name will go way farther than you ever will. Let's just be honest with you. Your
Well,
name
but I
will
think I
go.
think a lot of times in the industry, if people just tap into what God told them, He'll make room for their gifts. You don't have to push yourself on anybody. You don't have to woo them with anything. When it is
Yeah.
your season, it's your season, and nobody can stop it. No devil
So
in
and,
hell, nor this earth can stop what God has for you. It's
yeah,
yours.
as long as you put it and you put in the work, you know, and that's what I'm a firm believer of. Like, hey, man, you know, you gotta put in the work, you know,
Right,
you know, it ain't all about working hard all the time too. It's being smart, it's being
right.
strategic, it's having a plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I got stuff that I write down. You know, um, I write down. You know, I got like a journal that I write down. I got goals. I got, you know, my blessings. You know, what things I want to be. I want to be humble. I want to be thankful, understanding. You know, I got personal goals. I got strategy. You know, it's a lot of stuff that I write down. It's a lot of plans that I write down. Um, And I go through those because I know that um that's how I'm gonna get there, right? That's just like even with haircutting. When someone want a haircut, my first thing is to dissect their haircut. I'm
Right.
drawing a schematic in my mind what I'm gonna do to the hair. Why they talking, right? So
Right.
I do the same thing with my life. You know what I'm saying? If I want and that's one thing I'm adapting more. If I want a perfect haircut, if I want a good haircut, I'm gonna design it. I'm gonna plan it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna execute that plan, and then that haircut is gonna come out like I want it. So the
Right.
same thing with my life. I have to plan it, and I have to execute it. So then it comes out like I want. And at the same time, I can't take other people's input or and I ain't gonna say suggestions because I always consider people's suggestions, but if it's way left from where I'm going, then right now I can't entertain that because I don't need to, get off
Right.
my path, right? Because detours don't mean you're not gonna get there, just gonna take you a longer time to get there. So it's not about moving fast and trying to take the shortcut. It's about being diligent in your work, being diligent in your focus, being diligent in your faith, right? Because as you
Right.
continue to work and walk towards your destiny, um, you can enjoy it and you can see it as it starts to come because it's surreal sometimes. Like, I remember being in New York and I'm looking at the buildings and now I'm living there. Now I'm working Fashion Week. I'm from the dirt road in Tavares, but now I'm at Fashion Week New York. It was the
Right.
year prior to that. I wanted to go to Fashion Week New York so bad. I was just like, oh man, I want to go to Fashion Week. Things didn't work out. I was down. I was hurt. I was just like, man, I want to go to Fashion Week. The following year, I went to Fashion Week. Ever since then, I worked Fashion Week probably like 3 or 4 more times after that. By that fifth time, it's like, hey, you want to work Fashion Week? I was like, well, nah, I don't even want to work Fashion Week, right? But just years ago, I was crying about not going to Fashion Week. Here I am now turning down a Fashion Week gig, because I have done it, but I had to plan it, right? I had to execute it, and then for me to do it, it was surreal because I just manifested, or I just had the faith enough to work until something happened for me that I wanted, and it happened to be that, right? So, yeah, it's definitely more about staying focused and just working and like you said, really just trusting whatever God has for you. Because at the end of the day, He lets us make our own decisions, but He also tells us what comes with these decisions that we make.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if and we know how even our industry is. It's a lot of cutthroat. It's a lot of backstabbing. It's a lot of
Right.
this. But if you move with pure intentions and integrity, no matter what people do behind your back, it won't hurt you. It just
No,
won't.
it
So
won't. And that's why you got to really stay focused and believe in who your daddy is in a sense because
right,
everybody don't have the same daddy, you know.
right,
And so I've like me, I've been in this industry 30 plus years. I'm now 50, about to be 51, legally since 92. And it's a lot of cutthroat, and it don't matter where it come from. It right there in the shop with you, cutthroat. And one thing that I really had to realize is, again, what God has for me is for me. Not so much focusing on what people do, because you got to realize who's operating those people. And
yep,
they're just
yep,
on their assignment and they're part of the plan and the purpose. You
right,
just stay in your own lane, Charles Lane. When
right,
we stay in our own lane and not veer off to try to how can I say, retaliate or act on or even respond to. Sometimes God show you things just so you will be aware of the weapons formed against you. He said they
right,
formed. It didn't mean that they was gonna work towards you or hurt
right,
you or
right, right.
harm you, but He just wants you to be aware of your surroundings so you know how to carry yourself. You know who to say what to and who not to say what to. And sometimes we just got to get in that season of stop talking
Yeah,
so much.
Right.
And start opening up this and start opening up your eyes and stay in your lane and do what it is that God told you to do and walk towards your calling and your prize. And then the end result is you win.
Every time.
You win. You win. So listen, I told everybody we not gonna stay on live real long. We done been on here almost a whole hour. We got 6 minutes. In conclusion to doing this podcast with none other again than Brand Charles, I appreciate you so much for being real, for being open, talking about things that's dear to your heart. What at the end, what advice would you give people, not just in the industry, but life period?
What advice? I just say really just you know have really just have a relationship with God. Just definitely rely on God as far as knowing what He has given you as your gift. Use that gift to make way for you because it will, and stay really stay grounded in your purpose. Once you find your purpose, stay grounded in your purpose. And just things gonna come that may not be the most comfortable, but if you stay grounded in your purpose, you're gonna always fare out well. Move with good intentions, be honest, be straight up, always remain humble, and don't panic. you know um and even in those times of chaos and tragedy, just bend them knees, man. You have to. That's it. You gotta pray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to, y'all. Y'all got to stay connected. Again, I want to thank Brand Charles for coming on and giving me at least an hour of his time. I know he's a busy man, but I want to thank you all for tuning in to BU Podcast, the relaunching of BU Podcast, where this is a podcast where you can simply be you. All right, guys, y'all have a blessed and wonderful night, and we will talk to you on the next go round. Thank you.
All right.